Let's launch into our first guest today and welcome Kristen Koger, who is Special Events Director for Mothers Against Drunk Driving. Kristen is here with us at the big old table. Hi.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning, Kristen.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Wow, what's going on with MADD these days?
So much. But what we want to focus on right now is this week we have our Walk Like MADD and MADD Dash. It's our annual event, 5K run and 5K walk this Saturday morning.
Nice.
Yeah.
All the runners are excited.
I think so. I hope so.
This is one of those sanctioned events that they all like.
It's certified and competitive.
Okay.
So there's
so
awards and categories for all runners. So.
Nice.
Very, very
Nice.
good. And at what time will you be, I guess it says right there, we'll be
so
registering at 7?
Yeah, registration starts at 7. We'll be at the Hispanic Cultural Center down off of Bridge and 4th. And the walk and the run will actually take off at 8 a.m.
That's good, before it gets scorching hot.
Right, right. It's really nice at 8 a.m.
It is, especially along
A
the
couple
bosque.
hours after, and we're done. Yeah,
Definitely.
So it's a beautiful walk. The walkers will take the North Bosque Trail up to Tingley Beach and back, and the runners are going to take the South Bosque Trail.
Oh,
So,
nice. So they'll,
yeah.
Okay, look at you guys. You're all organized and everything.
I try. I'm trying. You know, it's a fantastic event. We don't just want to get the people who've been affected. We want to get our community out there because, let's face it, we all live here. We're all affected.
Sure.
So,
definitely.
yeah.
Can you speak to that just a little bit, to how many people are truly affected by this?
Sure. Nationwide, it's still such a huge issue. We had over 10,000 deaths in our country alone due to drunk and drug driving last year. But New Mexico lost 134 people in 2013, and that's the people that were killed. So when we talk about people who are injured, we had over 1,700 people injured last year. I mean, that's anything from a fractured wrist to becoming paralyzed. These are choices that people are making that now affect other people, and their entire lives are altered. Entire lives, 100% preventable.
When I was on the MADD website last night, I read, it's staggering, but every 51 minutes somebody is killed by a drunk driver.
Right.
That's just staggering, and that New Mexico has a very high underage drinking situation problem.
We actually, one of the spots we don't want to lead the nation, and we are, Bernalillo County has the highest rate of underage drinkers, kids who take their first drink before the age of 13. And I don't know, for those of you who have kids,
before 13?
You think about that, a 13-year-old, these are babies,
They
you know. And so we lead the country in that right now, and we need to work to change that. And so it's a lot of community efforts. We want to open up that dialogue. We want to start talking. We want to start educating our kids, and most of our adults too. But parents have that influence with kids, and so MADD has a program. It's a Power of Parents program that really gives tips and ideas on how to address that issue with your children.
I think what drives a lot of people nuts is when you see in the news that they've caught some guy drunk driving and it's his 5th, 6th, 7th, 10th time. Not seeing that as much, but it's still happening. What is MADD doing in that area with our legal system? You
know, the biggest thing that we tell people is, and we hear this a lot, you know, how can somebody have 8 DWIs?
Exactly.
Why
aren't they in jail?
Right.
Why aren't they in jail? And this is what it boils down to. Be very careful and think about who we're electing to office. We need to watch how legislation works. We need to see who's proposing tougher penalties for repeat offenders, how those records work, and how that affects our community. We are not a lobbying organization, but we are an advocating organization.
I see.
And so we definitely advocate for victims and people who aren't yet victims. So we do want, you know, these stronger penalties for repeat offenders. It keeps them off the road a little longer, and it's a deterrent. So vital.
And we just haven't seen that from our legislators.
We've seen some progress. We've seen some progress. If you have any experience up in Santa Fe during session, it's it's a struggle. It's difficult up there, getting everybody on board and writing just the perfect legislation to make it all happen.
Yeah.
you
And they're
know?
going to break, it's a law that is broken. So even
Yeah.
if the laws are in place and there's penalties and all this stuff like that, it's a personal choice, and it's systematic. It's systemic.
This is a personal choice, and that's the key here is personal accountability. Each one of us goes out every day and makes choices on how we're going to drive. If we're going to start cutting people off, if we're going to slam on our brakes, when somebody is up too close on us. Those are choices just as well. We don't want to get in our cars and use it as a 3,000-pound weapon. And so personal accountability, that's key. And we have to keep in mind, we work with families that have lost sons, daughters, moms, grandparents, friends. We work with people who've lost people to this.
Yeah.
And regardless of the penalties imposed on the offender, those families are still losing.
Sure.
There's no amount of jail time or penalty that brings these families back together.
Right.
And so ultimately, what we'd rather do is eliminate the issues of drunk driving completely.
Let's put MADD out of business. That would be great.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
exactly
Wouldn't
it.
that be great?
Please help me find a new job.
Yeah,
I need
exactly.
to find a new job, you
Yeah.
know? If we didn't have any more victims.
That'd be
And
great,
that is a very viable option. I mean, that could happen.
It's preventable.
It's 100% preventable.
That'd be
Absolutely.
great. All right, let's get back to the run for a second. If you want to participate, it's this Saturday and
Saturday morning, come out to the Cultural Center. 7 a.m. is registration.
nice.
We'll start some opening ceremonies at 7:30, and we'll start our walk and our run sharp at 8. All of the money we raise at this event stays here locally to really provide victim services, which MADD does free of charge.
What would be an example of that? What kind of victims?
Victim services, it's more than we would think. So families are affected, and it's an instantaneous tragedy. They didn't have time to plan for this. It wasn't, sometimes they need help with burial issues, with just support, mental, emotional support is what I'm looking for.
Yeah.
We match up peer-to-peer mentoring, families who've lost the same type of situation, but also helping them to file for reparations. Sometimes they need help paying P&M, or they need groceries, things like that.
Yeah.
But the big key in all of this, on top of that, is the judicial system. If I were to have to navigate it tomorrow, on top of a tragic loss, I'd be lost. And so this is where I
Right.
see a lot of our value really comes in when these families just don't know their rights. And so our organization's main priority in regard to victim services is to maintain their victims' rights, make sure that those are being upheld through the judicial system. And so it's a lengthy process. We have families that have been with us for 10 plus years. You know, all the way through offenders going to jail and then being released and having to work through that system as well. So
My goodness.
extensive. It's
Yeah.
extensive. It
Yeah.
is.
All right, well, there you go.
How many people were in your run last year?
Okay, I had 357 registered people last year, and my goal this year is to get more than 400 bodies out there,
Awesome.
All right.
actually in the walk and the run. So if you run, if you walk, if you just like to be outside, it's such a beautiful event. And we'll be doing, we're doing a butterfly release at the end,
that's
and
great.
it's really a very cool event.
What an
Very
awesome
nice.
symbol.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, Kristen, there you go. Go on out and support MADD this Saturday morning. Their run and walk like MADD. Well, I got to get it right. Walk like MADD and MADD Dash.
That's it.
Held every year. Okay.
it.
Kristen, thank you very much for being on the show.
Thank you, guys.
Kristen Koger is Special Events Manager of Mothers Against Drunk Driving. Hey, coming up in a moment, we're going to give you a whole overview of what's going on out at the Indian Pueblo Cultural Center. A lot of summer fun to be had out there this year, and they're really turning it up for the for fun this summer, and we're going to check in with those folks next. And then Anna Loisel, our relationship coach, will be along here later in the show. It's the Morning Brew.
She's going to help us save our marriages.
Yeah.
We all need a little help.